Last week, Notre Dame beat Texas A&M 23-13 in Kyle Field. Kyle Field has a 100,000 plus fan capacity. It's one of the best and loudest environments in the SEC, consequentially college football, and A&M has a great defense, or at least great talent on the defensive side of the ball and potential on offense. We'll see if A&M utilizes this offensive potential, because their offense didn't look good against Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's defense was impressive in that game. And their offense did just enough to escape with a win, an impressive win in Kyle Field. And I thought they would be a lock, or close to a lock, to reach the college football playoff. But guarantees don't exist in college football. And today's an example of that. Because Northern Illinois didn't just beat Notre Dame. They game-controlled Notre Dame. Northern Illinois had, let me read this for you off of my beautiful Alienware laptop, 34 minutes and 38 seconds of possession. They had 388 total yards. They had no turnovers. Notre Dame had 102 less yards. They had nearly 10 fewer minutes of possession, and they had 2 additional turnovers. With 1 first down, Northern Illinois in part won this game because of an Antario Brown 83-yard pass from Ethan Hampton, where Notre Dame's defensive backs got confused in coverage, nearly ran into each other, and Antario Brown caught the pass perfectly placed by Ethan Hampton, took it 83 yards to the house. But Notre Dame couldn't get the ball moving. And Northern Illinois did a great job on defense, stymieing Riley Leonard, holding Notre Dame to 4.4 yards per carry, and that's factoring in a long run by Jeremiah Love of 34 yards. If you want to say the Antario Brown 83-yard reception for a touchdown was a fluke, given how Notre Dame's offense performed, Jeremiah Love's 34-yard run, to a certain degree, was a fluke. And you never want to rely on your kicker making a 60-yarder to win a game, especially when you are ranked number 5 in the country. And when you have a schedule as easy as A&M on the road and maybe USC on the road to close the year looks like your toughest game. Not a single team that, as of this current moment, is top 10. Certainly no team on the schedule that's top 5. And Notre Dame loses at home. They fall to 0-1 at home against a MAC school, Northern Illinois. We'll talk more about this game here, but before I dive even deeper and get to the takeaway for Northern Illinois, the pretty stomach ache inducing is probably the more proper term, the gut-wrenching takeaway for Notre Dame. I want you to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, share this video around to other college football fans. Join the Discord server. You can click the link and just join it. It's free. It's engaging. You can find that link via the link in the description or down below in the pinned comment. And hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when we release new college football content here on College Football with Sam. Again, like, subscribe, click the notification bell, join the Discord. Comment your thoughts down below. What's your reaction to this game? With Michigan getting annihilated at home by Texas, Notre Dame falling to Northern Illinois, at this current moment, Alabama is struggling with South Florida. Houston's only down 8 to Oklahoma at the half. LSU is struggling with Nichols. I mean, there is a lot of chaos that's happened so far, and we're not even finished with week 2. It's insane. This is a down year in football. I've had plenty of incorrect takes so far, like Florida State winning the ACC. They're 0-2 in conference. They look terrible. Like Michigan reaching the college football playoff. That's still in play, but Michigan needs to fix a lot if they want to follow through on that. Something that I think through 2 weeks, that a take of mine that I've aged well on, or that has aged well, is probably the fact that this is a down year in college football relative to there being multiple elite teams. You saw this last year where Michigan, Georgia, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State, Texas, maybe Alabama, but probably not. I just think they were better coached than most of those 6 teams that I mentioned because of Nick Saban. You had so many teams with high octane capability, with the potential to be a 15-0, one of the better teams in college football history type dominance. Michigan was that. Georgia could have been that. Ohio State could have been that. Penn State, if they had Andy Kotelnicki last year, maybe could have been that. Oregon, Washington. Washington wasn't uber dominant, but they were very impressive to watch if you watched a lot of their games last year. There aren't teams like that this year outside of Georgia and maybe Texas, maybe Ohio State, maybe Alabama. And Alabama is struggling right now, and Ohio State hasn't played anybody yet. So Notre Dame, I think, looking at this game, just blew a massive opportunity. And it's not just in this game, but it's with their schedule. Losing this game means that your playoff appearance, especially given that Notre Dame isn't in a conference and therefore they're not eligible for that first round bye, is in jeopardy. I mean, is this Notre Dame team capable of winning the rest of their games on their schedule with Louisville, with USC, with Georgia Tech? I mean, the concern with Notre Dame here is they let Northern Illinois run the ball 45 times and only pass it 20 times, and they allowed 190 yards rushing, 4.2 yards per carry. That's with Riley Mills and Howard Cross III, 2 NFL defensive tackles. Notre Dame didn't get a single sack. They only had 3 TFLs. Northern Illinois had 2 sacks and 4 TFLs. They ran the ball better than Notre Dame did. And they game-controlled Notre Dame with far less talent, far fewer resources. You know, everyone loves to talk about recruiting. Recruiting. How are you recruiting? Did you sign that 5-star? It doesn't matter if you can't beat a MAC school. It doesn't. It doesn't matter if you can't put your players in a position to win. The reason Texas destroyed Michigan today is because they were better coached and they were better developed this preseason. Give credit to the coaching staff for what they do on the field and off the field in the weight room, not just what players they sign. The reason why Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame today is Thomas Hammock coached a better game than Marcus Freeman did. The reason Nebraska right now is blowing out Colorado, in some part, is due to recruiting, but Colorado has more flashy players, and I would say on an average basis, because Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter bring up the average, but maybe even on a median basis has more talented players than Nebraska relative to recruiting. And yet Nebraska's done a much better job game planning and coaching. Recruiting, it's so important, and I don't want to act like it's not, but it has become so overrated. And I think games like this, and if you watch big games like Texas versus Michigan, or you're watching Nebraska, Colorado right now, I think you see it. And maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm out of touch. But this is a game that just shows that recruiting is, again, it's important. But Notre Dame is a top 10 recruiting class right now. Marcus Freeman's been recruiting better than Brian Kelly. But he has not shown that he is as good of a coach as Brian Kelly is. This is a bad loss. You've seen a loss to Marshall in 2022, and now this. 2 losses to Group of 5 teams at home after what looked to be an impressive Week 1 performance. That were impressive Week 1 performances. And now Notre Dame's season is in complete free fall. You got to go back to the drawing board. Riley Leonard was 20 of 32 for 163 yards and 2 interceptions. He had a quarterback efficiency rating of 26. After today, he is going to be rated as one of the worst quarterbacks in all of the Power 4. He had a 92.8 passer rating after a 104 passer rating against Texas A&M the prior week. Notre Dame's QB situation, and this is coming from a Michigan fan, it literally right now, how is it any different? You have the more proven player if you're Notre Dame, but the results are the exact same thing. Terrible, terrible passing. No elite receivers to rely on. They're getting Mitchell Evans involved, but because of how bad the passing game is, he's only going to have 22 receiving yards or 25 or something like 26, pardon me, with 2 receptions through 2 games. It's insane. The coaching is just, Marcus Freeman's been questioned for game management now for, it's going to go on 3 years in a row. And they have to go back to the drawing board. And with a loss as bad as this, they have to win out if they want to go to the playoff, unless the chaos just extends to literally everyone. A 10-2 Notre Dame with a loss to a good team and then a loss to this Northern Illinois team is not going to be looked upon favorably in the college football playoffs, especially since their strength of schedule is not the strongest and they're not inside of a Power 4 conference. We talk about winners first, typically, on college football with Sam. Not winners first, but we save the best for last. We talk about losers first. Get the worst out of the way. Let the pus flow from the wound, and then we clean out the wound and let it heal. Northern Illinois, with a top 5 win on the road against a brand like Notre Dame, could they be a college football playoff contender from the group of 5? They're 2-0, 1-0 away. They crushed Western Illinois in a similar fashion that Indiana did. And if you placed Indiana in the MAC, they'd have a pretty good chance to win the MAC. If Northern Illinois can win the MAC, maybe only sustain a loss or 2 at the most, with that big win, you can't tell me that there isn't some kind of chance that they could get in as that 12 seed, as the auto bid for the group of 5 conferences. What an impressive win for Thomas Hammock and that Northern Illinois program. What a job. Ethan Hampton, 10 of 19 for 198 yards, 10.4 yards per pass attempt, and a touchdown. He also had 21 rushing yards. Antario Brown, who had that reception earlier, 2 receptions for 126 yards, 1 touchdown, 20 carries for 99 yards, 5 yards per carry. He was one of my contenders for the player of the game. He was, because of, had over 200 total yards. Absolutely crazy. And say what you want to say, whether it was a fluke or not. I don't think there was much of a fluke here, given that Northern Illinois outgained Notre Dame, won the turnover battle, won the TOP battle, but it doesn't matter. Game's over. It's done. 16-14 is the final score. And my player for the game here is kicker Cannon Woodill. 1 of 1 on extra points, 3 of 4 on field goals, made the game-winning field goal despite missing one earlier with it being blocked by Notre Dame. And Notre Dame, the refs, I rarely say this, the refs, they tried to give Notre Dame an edge. They did. That was clearly a first down on that 3rd and 2. They spotted him easily a yard, if not 2, short. And Hammock could have challenged it. They reviewed it. It still went to Notre Dame's favor. It was 4th and 1, 4th and inches. Hammock could have went for it. Some might have said that was an ego play, but with how they were running on Notre Dame, they probably would have converted it if they went for it on 4th and 2. Instead, he relies on Cannon Woodill, his kicker, and he kicks the game-winning field goal with all the noise affecting him, heading his way, drills a 35-yard field goal. It's time to panic if you're Notre Dame, because Northern Illinois, while probably better than preseason experts thought, they travel to Purdue next week, and Purdue has a bye, and Purdue looks better than they were last year. They play Louisville September 28th, and Louisville's looked dominant in their games, yes, against scrubs, but they've looked dominant nonetheless. They host Georgia Tech October 19th, and Georgia Tech is a team who can run the ball and whose defense is improved. And USC, I don't think USC is this elite team, and some people think that they could be, but USC on the road to close out the year, with the improvements they've made on defense and the fact that they are going to be passing the ball everywhere with at least one of their receivers open most of the time, that's going to be a challenge. So Notre Dame's schedule with this loss went from looking easy for the Irish to now you could see 9-3. Don't lie to me. 10-2 is probably the most likely scenario, if not 9-3. Heck, you could see 8-4 with how this team performed. And the fact that they escaped A&M. That was a very close game. It was. And they won that game, and Northern Illinois versus Notre Dame was a close game. That went Northern Illinois' way. 1-1. And a schedule that was very opportunistic and beneficial for the Irish now looks like it could present some challenges. And not making the playoff this season for Notre Dame would be a massive disappointment, as Joe DeLeon has told me on his show when I had him on. It looks like that's a possibility here. So that's just my brief analysis on this game. I can't even believe that happened. I mean, wow. That was not on my bingo card. Notre Dame losing at home to Northern Illinois after beating a very talented and well-coached A&M team on the road. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts on this video down below. Also, check out my Discord server. Join it, please, via the link in the description or down below in the pinned comment. Thanks to my Patreon members, Crash2488 and Braska Rascal, for being Heisman members and sponsoring this video and channel. Thanks to Chris Lane, Connor Little OH, Ismar, and Tyler Nye for being All-American members and sponsoring this video and channel. Thanks to John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, and Janisha Cockrow for sponsoring this video and channel as all conference members. If you do want to get merchandise free and signed by me, you can sign up as a Heisman member for $25 a month, and after 6 months of membership, you will get free merchandise signed by me delivered to your door. If you just want the merchandise with no membership attached, just visit my store via the link in the description or down below in the pinned comment, and you can buy some. Have a great day, guys. Go Irish. Northern Illinois, yeah, go Huskies. See you all very soon.